Hey guys, welcome to Hairtribe. My name is Gianmarco, I'm the co-founder of Sense Education. I'm here with Hairtribe in this amazing location in Epping Forest in London. Kana is my beautiful model. I want to share with you quite a classic look today. She has a really sort of unique look and a beautiful bone structure. I would like to place, a nice length just around the jawline, and also working with some long layering technique just to add some texture and movement within the hair. So the all over feel is going to be very, very soft and very simple. So I want to keep simplicity at the very best. Now, I'm going to get started with my sectioning. So, first things I'm going to do, I want to give some flexibility within the look. So I do not want to work with a specific parting. So because of that, I am going to take a center section from the nose down the nape. So this what it will do. It will allow me to construct some balance within the haircut, and then she can move it, as she likes. Now, with Kana, I've decided to work with a square line technique. So it's going to be a balanced line. It's going to have an equal weight within the perimeter of the hair. So I want to make sure that my sections will actually mirror my cutting line. So I want to work with parallel sections all the way through. Now, I'm going to start just at the nape, and I'm going to take a square section. Now, I'm going to cut one side first, and then move on to the other. Now, as you see, the hairline is quite jumpy. So because of that, I want to reduce the amount of tension that I actually use. And I'm going to work using the largest tooth of my comb and really applying the least tension as possible I can. Now, first section, I'm going to keep the head straight up. And I'm going to place my line. I'm going to tap with the scissors to make the hair sit as close as possible to the skin. Now I'm just going to refine the shape. So you can see the silhouette now. Now from this stage, I'm going to put the head down and I'm going to remove the excess of graduation. And each section that I will do, I will let Kana to put the head up each time. So it will counter-react the elasticity of the skin. It's so important to actually tap with your scissors. Yeah, this is going to make the hair as close as possible to the skin, so I'm not going to get too much graduation after on. If I would just press the head down against the skin, then I will increase the amount of tension and my liner will be much softer and I will create more graduation. Okay? So now, because the hairline is very jumpy, every time I want to check the shape, I need to comb the head down and tap, 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 tap. And here is, realistically is my actually cutting line. I work with horizontal sections. put the head back in the natural position. My comb is parallel to the section. And I tap, 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 and I cut. I'm going to ignore this for now, because I'm just right above the mastoid bone area, and you can see it's quite jumpy, so it needs more weight. So I'm going to do this later on. Now, once that I've reached this stage, I am going to reproduce the same things on the other side, okay? So, starting off my left hand side, I've got my guideline from what I've done on my right hand side. The comb is parallel to the section. Just gonna tap, 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 and create my square cutting line. So my body position is always behind Kana. The reason why is because if I would step around, I'm more likely to actually round the shape. Now, from this point, I'm just going to put the head down and clean the excess of graduation. And now, each time the head will come up, 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 and this will counter-react how the skin actually reacts. You know, as you know, the skin is very flexible, okay? Now take a straight horizontal section. Now the head by this stage is straight up. Now when I comb the hair, I just want to make sure that I stop just quite away from the guideline so I can actually see it, and then twist my comb up, you know, to clear my vision. So you just tap, tap. Now, same on this side, as you know, my section now is just sitting above the mastoid bone area. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ignore this little bit for now and just cut until here. The reason why it can jump up quite a lot on dry hair. So I want more weight to actually sit on that. So I will probably cut in the next two sections.
Can you please repeat the sound quite
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. You just had everywhere. Right. Now, same as at the other side, my section now just folds on top of the mastoid bone area. So because of that, you can see how much the hair is actually jump up behind this area. So I'm just going to ignore this for now and just cut up until here. Now on my next section, the weight, it will just flatten down this area, so it would be easier for me to cut. So I'm not taking the risk right now. Right, now from this stage I'm probably going to take one more section before I actually move to the sides. And I stop. How important is to keep the blade parallel to the combs, and the comb is parallel to the section. So it's all a guideline that you actually get through the haircut. I think it's all about discipline, you know, it's discipline your eyes, your hands, you know, and coordinate your movements. Now, once I reach this stage, again, I'm not going to cut this just now, because again, if I put the scissors behind, you can see how much is jumping, okay? So I'll do this probably on the next section, yeah? Just to play safe. So I'm going to leave this for now and move on with the next section. I'm going to complete one side first and then move on the other. If I was doing a client, I would probably work both ways together. It really depends on, you know, how you feel more comfortable with. Now, my section is, you know, my section just moved to the sides. So at this point, I'm just going to carry on and extend my line to the sides. So I'm still going to start at the back first, because this, it will give me the guide to move to the side, okay? So we've got square shape. So my body position is at the back of canna. Once I've established my corner, from there I can switch my body position and just cut, you know, extend a line to the sides. Now would you chin up a little bit and just turn like that? Oh, perfect. You guys good? Yeah. Now, from this point, my body position just moved, and I'm going to extend the line just as we said during the consultation, just a point, just around the jawline, okay? So now I want to make sure that my comb, especially my sections, are straight and parallel to the floor. So just place the comb very gentle, and I tap, tap, tap. I just chin slightly up. This is going to prevent me to actually round the shape, so it's going to save extra length around the front. And I tap, 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 and I cut. Now, I really want to be careful around the ears, okay? So it's quite jumpy, so that means that my tension needs to be at the minimum it can possibly be. So I'm going to place the blade behind the ears, and I'm going to scoop. So in that way, I pick everything around the ears and make sure that nothing just stays behind. Okay, so you don't get any surprise later on. So once that, I tap, 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 and slightly harder, I just tap below and above the ears to save extra length for when I'm going to blow dry. Now when I do that, I want to keep my chin straight myself. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at this from a straight point of view. So if I incline my head too much, I can't see and I can't create a straight line. Now that we're working towards the side, the section should be straight at the back and also straight at the side. But the head is round. So most likely, if I draw my section from the back towards the front in one go, I will probably end up curving the shape and end up with a point, okay? Now, because of that, I want to split this process into two. So I'm going to stand at the back of Kana and taking my section from the back, placing my comb flat on the scalp and just drawing a straight line. And I stop where the head rounds. Now, after I've done that, I'm going to move away and do the same process from the side. So I'm going to place my comb and I'm going to follow the head shape and just create a straight line. So it's much better to do it in 2 steps than actually try to do it in one go. And then I comb everything forward and I can place my clip. Now, I'll come back here. I've just connect what I need at the back, still keeping my chin straight up. I try not to move my head too much. Same for my shoulder, parallel to my hips, yeah? Now, once I've done the back, I can move to the sides and I get Kana to chin up and tilt the head slightly. Again, this is going to balance off in the case I'm going to round slightly the shape at the front. Now, when I reach a point behind the ear, on the ears, I'm going to tap below and above to prevent some length to actually jump up too much when the hair is dry. Okay, now I can just take everything into one section now, as there is not much left. I'll comb the hair in the natural flow. I'll come from the back again. See, there is not much now to cut. Then the higher we go and the less there is to cut. That's because of the previous haircut she had. See, I just tap very close to the skin and I stop when I'm around the ears, because there I know that I really need to tap much more in this area. Okay, now I've completed the left hand side. I'm going to carry on from where I've stopped before, which is just a point behind the ears. Okay, so I'm taking again a straight horizontal section. This is going to be my last section before I actually move on to the sides. Now, as I've did on the other side, again, where the mastoid bone area is, this hair is just jumped too much. So I'm going to ignore this for now. Now I'm standing at the back, place my comb parallel to the section. I tap, very gentle close the ears, and I just cut my length. Now, from this point, I will just move to the sides. So again, I will do this section in two. I will divide this step into two. So I'm going to section the hair here, straight section, and I stop. Then I come to the sides, my elbow goes up, and I take a straight section. And I comb everything away from the section so I can have a clear visual of what I'm doing. If I can't see my section, I will probably stop and clean it up my work. Okay. I will complete the back. See, my section now is 10 to the sides. Okay. So I will start from the back again and just finish at the point behind the ears, and then from there extend my square line through the front. Now, I'm going to move my body to the sides. Now, my comb is parallel to the section, parallel to the floor. And from here, I'm just going to get, a nice and fluid line towards the front. I want to make sure I tap above and below the ears. And I scoop with the scissors any hair behind the ear, and then I use the comb to actually pull everything down really nicely. And then again I push, 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 and I cut. And I just chin up a little bit just to play safe. Right, I'm going to clean the line of quartz on dry hair. Now, same as I've done before, I take a straight section from the back and I stop and I move through the sides. And I just curve and making sure that my section is straight also from the sides. Now this is quite a salon friendly look. I mean, I'm just working with a classic square line for now, and it's sort of such a beautiful shape to know how to work with. And I would say it's one of the fundamentals that we actually share with Sensi Education during our classes. If you can master a classic shape, you can create anything. I think the most challenging bits of hairdressing and hair cutting is actually creating a balanced shape. See, notice how the hair is always pulled and combed in the natural position. I do not over-direct the hair. I do not elevate the hair, because that what will give you over directions and will give you graduation. Okay, now this is going to be my last section. So I'm just going to comb everything in the natural flow. I keep using the largest tooth of my comb all the way through the haircut. This is minimize my tension. Now, it's not a preference, it just depends on the final look. If you want something solid within the hairline, within the perimeters, then you want to minimize your tension to achieve, a blunt and sharp line. If you want to have something softer, then what you can do is just, apply more tension, then you will achieve much more graduation. That will create more roundness within the line. Also, that depends on the density of the hair. Okay, so now I've completed my line. I'm going to move on into my layering technique. Now, I've created my square line technique. Now, I want to combine this with some layering. I feel that the head is quite thick at the back and I want to add some movement, some texture, and also, yes, removing some weight. So because of that, I've decided to work with quite a flatter shape, and I'm going to use a layering technique, which is the lightest within the three techniques. To do that, I'm going to use vertical sections that would be parallel to each other, and I'm just going to obviously keeping some weight behind the ears, and the reason why is because, you know, if you look at behind the ears, the hairline curves up. So what happens is if I will work on the base, I will end up creating a hole in this area, right? Now, I really like the fact of keeping some weight around the front though, because I want to slim the face shape down a little bit. So because of that, I will probably over direct everything back, so that will create a triangular shape. So we're going from something flat that I will probably round around the crown area and go longer towards the front. So this I will keep enough length for me still to frame and cover the jawline a little bit. Right, before I do that, I will separate the back with the sides and do quite a classic sectioning from ear to ear. If you look at, right, if you look, as soon as you press down with the comb, you can actually see where the hair separates. Yeah, so this will give you a nice guide. Now, I'm sectioning from the top of the head down behind the ears, and I comb the rest away and probably just put a clip so the hair is actually nice and clean all the way through. Now when I do this, I tend to comb from the roots down the ends, as you know, I want my clients or my models to look good all the way while I'm actually cutting the hair. Especially if you're there in the salon, they look at themselves in the mirror, you know, so you want them to look good all the time. Now I will repeat the same process on the other side. A nice and vertical section. I always use the largest tooth of my comb when I'm sectioning and when I'm actually combing the hair through. If I use the finest one, it will just make the hair very, very tight. Yeah, so it's very hard to actually comb the hair. I think the more gentle you have with the hair, and then actually the more listen to you. And just clip away. Now, here is my separation. Would you put your head back a little bit? Okay. So here you can see we've got a center section and we've got a section that goes from ear to ear. Now, I'm going to start by taking a vertical center section and comb everything away from it. And I'll do the same on the other side. And this will be my guideline. See, I clearly see my section, and that's how it should be. It's like a map, you know, sectioning is like the map of your haircut, you know, I will tell you what's going to happen next and next and next. Now, hair bow goes up, start working outside of my fingers. This will help me to create a flatter angle. It's going to lift the hair up. Now, the whole reason why I wanted to work with a line underneath is actually to create weight, to create something that is quite solid, okay? So because of that, I want to drop out some length from the occipital bone down, so to make sure that I keep enough weight within the outline. Now, I will use the shortest length as a guide, and from here, creating a flatter angle that is slightly round around the crown area. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to start creating my layers. So I'm just taking a section, pull the hair straight out, and as I said, I use the shortest length as a guide, and I create my flat angle. Now see, I'm not cutting the hair here, yeah, because we have a curve and the angle of my haircut is quite flat. So I want to make sure that I'm just using this little bit of my fingers to actually create my flatter silhouette. Now, when I reach the crown area, I'm going to round the shape slightly. So this will create some softness when the hair actually drops. If I will keep a flatter angle, okay, when I will drop, it will actually create some weight. So that's the reason why I'm rounding it slightly, yeah? Always look at my knuckles, the movement. Now, I'm going to do one more section on the base, and from that point I'm going to start pushing the hair back to the previous one. So here is where I make the hair actually travel to create my flatter shape, my square silhouette. Now I split section number 1 into 2 and comb this away. I take section number 2, and section number 2 now is cut on the base. So I will comb the hair towards me, so this helps me to control the direction of the hair. See, this goes straight out. Straight out, and then just where the crown is, I'm just going to lift it up and round it slightly my shape. And you can see how it sits just beautifully on the head. Now, from this point on, you can see that the head starts to round. So here is where I need to start pushing my hair back onto the previous one. Yeah, remember, the head travels, and when the head travels, shapes happen. I create shapes. So it's all understanding where the hair needs to travel according to the bone structure, and that's different from each individual. There is not one way of doing things, there are thousands of ways. Now, I want to push back onto the previous one. I want to keep an eye on the roots now. I use the finest side of my comb to pull the hair. This will give me much more control. And also is much more precise. If I will use the largest tooth of the comb, I will create a slightly looser effect, yeah, and makes the hair folds very soft down. Now remember, the density of the hair, it will tell you if you need to take finer or thicker sections. Thicker hair, the hair will actually travel more. So you might want to take slimmer sections. When on finer hair, the hair will need to travel more. And that's why you might need to take a thicker section to allow the hair to actually travel. Now, I almost done the first side. So notice that I'm pushing the hair back. So I've completed the left hand side and I'm moving on to my right hand side. It's the same exact process, okay? It's actually easier here because my body position will still be in the same place. Again, that is because of being very comfortable with what I do. If I would stand here, I will just move my hips too much to actually control the shape. And also, the over directions now, it will come towards me. So it's easier for me to actually comb the head towards me instead of away from me as I've just did, okay? Now, I take section number 1 and I move straight away into section number 2 as we already have a guideline. Now, remember the first section and the second are on the base. And from this point on, from section number 3, that will go to section number 2, 4 to number 3, and so on. I'm really tailoring this haircut for Kana individually. Right, now I split section number 2 and I comb the rest away, and every time this is my guideline. So I take section number 3, which now section number 3 I will have to go on to section number 2. This will help me to create a flatter shape. Now, when I do that, I really want to check the root and control my over directions. I don't really want to focus too much on my cutting line. Now I take section number 3 away and I move on into section number 4. Now when I do that, I comb the hair towards me and I just place my finger just on my previous sections. And then I pull the hair straight out. So I place the finger on my previous section, lock the hair, and then go straight out. So this, it will tell me exactly that I am working with over directions and I'm over directing in the right place. So all those little, tricks help you to achieve the desired shape. Okay, now once I've completed the back, I can actually move to the sides area. We have just assigned a square shape at the back, so we work with a flat layering technique, which is slightly round around the crown area. Now from that point, I will still keep my square cutting line, and by using over directions, I want to over direct everything back. So this will create a triangular shape that will keep enough length around the front. So I will just take vertical sections. I stand at the back of my model. I also just draw down a little section from my previous layering, just as a reference, and I will attach everything to what I've designed previously. So I comb everything nice and back, and I lift the hair slightly up. I want to make sure my guideline is quite visible, and I'm connecting the sides with the back, so keeping a nice and square cutting line. I want to comb anything nice and clean from the root. My hair bow is nice and up. Now, very important is to keep the weight on my line. Yeah, so I want to stay nice and back with my body position. I don't want to step around the head shape. Now it's just a couple of sections. And my elevation is slightly go higher each time. And the reason why is because otherwise I will have a step when the hair actually folds. Now once I've done that, I will do the same process on the other side. I will do the same process on the right hand side, okay? So standing in the back of Kana and over direct everything back to create a triangular shape. Now I take a little section from a previous layer as a reference, as a guide, let's say, and I comb the rest away. Now I will take a parallel section from the side, which is my section number 1, and I comb everything back, keeping the same cutting line I use at the back, which is square. And I can now see very clearly my guideline, and I stop. Now you can see by doing this, I really keep all the strands on my perimeter. Now, section number 2 will go into section number 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. So everything onto the first section. Now, if I cross-check the shape, doing my cross-checking, you will actually see how the shape, it becomes triangular. Yeah, that's achievable only by over-directing the hair. Now, I will blow dry the hair, and afterwards just refine the perimeter of the square line I've created. Plus, I will probably work with some point cutting technique to add some more texture and remove more weight in the layers I've just designed. Okay, now I have completed my blow dry, so as you see it's nice and smooth, you know, just got amazing hair to work with. Now I just want to go and clean up the line, so to do that I'm going to use the point of the scissors. That will help me to keep the hair into place. Now I put the head down slightly just to remove the excess of graduation. So this is just going to give me a better visual of the balance of the line. And I put the head back again, and I'm just starting pointing the hair through. Now I'm going to help myself with the clipper to skim down this hair that are just coming out from the perimeters. Now, once I've done the back, I'm going to work on my outline on the sides. So again, I just want to clean it up, maybe lifting the length slightly on the jawline. So just, trying to work as clean as possible. And then again, I want to lower myself down to actually remove the excess of graduation. Now, I'm just looking for balance, and the whole look I want it to be very, very, very soft, okay? So probably just going to comb the hair in every direction and see if there is any, little hair coming up. So again, you can see now some hair is just popping out, and I just want to, make it nice and sharp. Right, so you can just see, the beautiful silhouette of my square shape. Now I'm going to do the same process on the other side. Now same here, I'm working with a blunt cutting technique. So literally my scissor is parallel to the line. And can you see when I retreat the blade, that's where I'm actually cutting the hair. And I go back. And when my movement, I just shake the hair out when actually the blade retreats from the hair. This helps me to keep the hair into place, where if I would just push the hair forward, it would be very hard to create a very clean line. Now I'm using the point of the scissors just to remove any excess of weight. And again, I'm just moving the hair. I just want to create, some natural movement within the line and then assess the balance of the shape. So I'm just going to comb over again and again. And one more time, just clean it up, the silhouette. Right, so once I've done that, I can actually move into my layering. And that will be removing more weight by using a point cutting technique. Okay, now once I've cleaned up my perimeters, so I work on my outlines, I want to go back internally into my layers and removing some weight. Now, as you notice, I'm just standing behind Kana. The reason why is because it will make my life much easier to actually pull the hair straight out from the root. Now, I give myself 3 columns, the center, the right and the left. I'm going to start from the crown, working my way down. So I'm combing the hair horizontally. I'll take a straight section and I comb the hair straight out. Now, I do not want to ruin what I just done, so I want to keep the structure and just remove weights. Now, I hold my section through my fingers and put it away. And then with the largest root of the comb, I just scoop another section and pull it straight out. Now, what it will do, will make my point cutting technique very even. I'm not just randomly picking hair up. So that means that in every area, I will remove the same amount of weights. Now, I just stop around the nape as I want to keep the strength within my line. Now, once I've done section number 1, panel number 1, I will move on to my panel number 2. And I lift everything straight up. And the same process. See what this will do, I will just make the hair to sit much softer and have much more movement. Now, to do my third panel, I will switch my body position, turn the face to the right, and this again will make my life much easier to do that. Okay, so once I've completed the back, I'm going to do the same process on the front. I will take the same section as I've done before. So vertical section, I comb everything back. And you can see my square cutting line, and here is where I will remove weight. Push this down, take a new section, everything back. You see how thick the hair it is. So this will really make the hair move much more. Now I will do the same on the other side. Take a vertical section on the sides. Lift the section straight up. See, I leave quite a bit of a gap between my fingers and the hair shaft. See, this is really going quite deep with the blade, in and out, in and out. And notice that when I go out, I slide the hair away with me, and this will add texture. Okay, now, as I really like Kana's features, and I think it would be really nice to expose them. So I want to do something quite flexible. She can wear it either in the middle or having a side parting. Now, because of that, I want to create a sort of a long swap fringe. So I'm going to take a triangle from the center parting and cut a square cutting line. The reason why it's square is because when the hair will fall in either sides, it will leave length, it will leave weight. So I'm just taking a triangle up and I comb all the rest of the hair away. I'm going to elevate the hair slightly, as this with the hair will fall much softer. So this depends on the density of the hair. If the hair was finer, I would probably keep my elevation much lower. So I keep everything straight up and I just cut a square cutting line. Now everything goes straight into the middle. Keep my square cutting line there, and I'm just using a blind cutting technique, quite blunt. Now once I've done that, I will probably elevate everything down to the middle and just remove some weight. Now, because of that, again, I will keep the weight towards the sides. So everything goes straight in the middle. And I'm just going to remove this corner here. So when the fringe will fall, it will fall much softer. Now, once I've done that, I'm lifting the hair all straight up and removing weights. And I will also point cut the perimeters. Very, very gentle. Now you can see how soft it falls on the bone structure. And that's, you know, that's the vibe you get with the look, with the haircut. Yeah, something very, very soft, very textured. Yeah, I really, really like the fact the fringe just sits just around the cheekbones, so it just opens up the face a bit more. You could also wear this with the middle parting as well. That would be quite cool. This just sets the face off, so it just really is much more symmetric, okay? While by doing that, I will just stretch one side of the face. So it really depends what you want to see. So this is the final look. I've worked with a classic square line technique just on the jawline, and I've combined that with some layering. So we work with a flatter layer at the back that goes longer towards the front. So it was a square shape combined with a triangular shape at the front by using over directions, and this create this very, very nice movement and texture within the hair. So it's a really, really soft and salon friendly look. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this video on Hairtribe, and I hope to see you soon around the world with Sense Education. Thank you so much.